So back again at stay-at-home Pilates, and we're moving on from the basic standing that we did on the previous video, and we're moving into another functional movement that I'd like you to become very familiar with in your everyday life, and that is how to get yourself on and off your chair. Now that might sound a bit daft, but because I'm sure you can get into your chair, and I'm sure you can get out your chair no matter how, but you might have difficulty, but I'm going to show you how to get in and out of your chair a little bit more easily. So you'll need your pole, and I'd like you to maybe use this where you've got a mirror. So learn how to do it, and then have a look at yourself in the mirror, because it gives you a lot of information as to whether you are doing it correctly or not. You may think you are until you look in the mirror and think, oh, actually, you know, who's that? So I want you to stand in your parallel position. Have your feet just slightly wider apart, not too wide, but just slightly wider apart. And place your pole on your back. Now ideally the pole should sit in 3 points. That's at your tailbone, the shoulder blades, and the back of your head. Now that might not happen if your head has a tendency to sit slightly forward, or your back is slightly rounded, or even slightly arched. So when you're finding those 3 points on your back, don't worry if you can't find all 3. If your head is not sitting against the pole, what you want to avoid is doing that, because that's not going to help you. What you can do, however, is take your hands on the pole, use your thumb, and pop your thumb on the back of your head so you've got a point of contact there, because we need those points of contact when you tip forwards and come back. So when you tip, you want to avoid the head leading the way, the tail coming away, or the pole coming away from your tailbone, so that when you tip, all 3 points stay connected. Now when you do this tip, don't be tempted to go too far and think, oh, I can go all the way down here and still have contact. For the purpose of what I want to teach you, I don't want you to go that far. I want you to just take a small bow. Because after your bow, you're going to bend your knees. Now when you bend your knees, you want them to track over your toes, so they're not coming together, they're not drifting apart, you're not lifting your heels or your toes, but you're keeping planted on your tripod as you tip and bend. Now when you do this movement, it may take some time to get it. So I want you to think of it in 4 stages. You take your bow, bend your knees, lengthen the legs and bring yourself back. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And as it becomes more of a natural process, it'll become a normal movement, an automatic movement, where when you bend, the knees will come into place, and that you'll stand up with good movement patterns. Now once you've learned that pattern, you can take the pole away, and if you place the hands down the seam of your trousers, when you take your bow and you bend your knees, the hands follow the seam of your trousers to the outside of the knee. This again gives you a point of focus, so you're not tipping and the arms coming too far forward, or taking it where the arms stay behind you. Follow the seam of your trousers. Think of the pole on your back when you're doing this without the pole. And then we come to sitting into the chair, because that's the pattern that's going to take us into the chair. So if you take your pole again, have the bottom of the pole just on your tailbone there, and find the chair with your legs. You're going to tip, bend, and you sit. Feet flat on the floor, tripod on your foot, tip, and come up to stand. Tip, down to sit, tip, and up to stand. Try that without the pole. When you are working without the pole, hands down the seam of your trousers, you are tipping and sit. Tipping to stand. Now what gets you off your chair? Well, when you sit, if you think when you sit in your car, if your car was sitting on flat tires, it's the dog, when you're sitting in your car with flat tires, you're not going to move very far. But if the car has pumped up tires, it's going to move much more freely. So I want you to think that your car, you are the car, and your tires are your buttock muscles. So when you're sitting, if you're sitting on flat tires, it's going to take an awful lot of effort for you to get off your chair. You're going to use your arms, you're going to use anything to help you get up rather than use what should be getting you up, and that's these big guys. So when you are sitting, I'd like you to do this exercise. Flat tires, pumped up tires, flat tires, pumped up tires, 10 times. And when you do this, you'll notice your feet just push into the floor a little bit, so you have that contact. And that is what's going to get you up off your chair. So when you're sitting, think of sitting on your pumped up tires. Take a tip, push into your tripod, and you should find it's a lot easier to get off your chair. Tip and lift. Tip and sit. 10 times. Tip and lift. Tip and sit. Using these muscles. Now 10 repetitions might be just a little bit too many to begin with, so aim towards 10. 10 is always a good number to go towards. You shouldn't need to do any more, because we're looking at creating good, skillful repetition. And once you've got skillful repetition, then you can move on to making it a bit more challenging, and that will come in time. So there we are. You've got a few exercises there to keep you going, and I'm ready to go on to the next one. So see you there.